Clean this mess properly, girl. My shoes cost more than your monthly rent. Regional manager Derek Williams kicked over the yellow mop bucket. Dirty water splashed across Keisha Washington's navy uniform, seeping through the fabric. The 52-year-old woman stood motionless as brown liquid pooled around her worn sneakers. Derek pulled out his iPhone, aiming the camera down at her. "Watch this cleaning lady learn some respect," he announced to his Instagram Live audience. The red recording dot blinked as 23 viewers tuned in for his morning entertainment. Keisha's dark eyes remained calm. She reached for paper towels without a word. Behind Derek, a sleek black briefcase sat forgotten by her supply cart, its gold KW monogram catching the harsh fluorescent light. The 47th floor of Sterling Financial buzzed with arriving employees. None dared intervene. Have you ever been judged by your appearance, only to prove everyone spectacularly wrong? 8:47 a.m. 47 minutes until board meeting. Derek's live stream counter climbed to 47 viewers. Comments flooded in. "Fire her!" and "Show her who's boss." He grinned, energized by the digital audience. "This is what happens when diversity hiring goes wrong," Derek announced to his phone. "Some people need to learn their place in the corporate world." Keisha methodically cleaned the spilled water. Her movements were precise, professional. She'd done this dance 1,000 times over 3 weeks of night shifts. But today felt different. Today, the charade would end. Derek dialed maintenance. "Rodriguez? Your cleaning staff is incompetent and insubordinate. I want this woman terminated immediately for property damage and disrespect." The briefcase beside Keisha's supply cart held secrets that would shatter Derek's world. Inside, a Stanford MBA diploma dated 2019, a Sterling Financial ID badge reading K. Washington board member, and a first-class boarding pass from last night's red-eye from San Francisco. She'd been conducting undercover culture assessments for 3 weeks. Her phone buzzed. Text from Chairman Roberts. "Flight okay? See you at 9:30. 8:52 a.m. Maintenance director arrives. Luis Rodriguez stepped off the elevator, his weathered face creased with concern. He'd worked at Sterling Financial for 15 years. Never had he seen such a spectacle on the executive floor. "What's the problem here?" Rodriguez asked, though Derek's livestream made it obvious. "This woman damaged company property and refused to clean it properly." Derek lied smoothly. "She's been insubordinate all week. I want her fired and escorted out." Rodriguez looked at Keisha. She was one of his best supervisors. Quiet, thorough, always early. Something didn't add up. Her uniform was clean except for the fresh water stains. Her workstation was immaculate. "Ma'am, is this accurate?" Rodriguez asked gently. Keisha's voice was steady. "I spilled water while mopping. I was cleaning it when Mr. Williams arrived." Derek's phone showed 89 viewers now. He was performing for them. "She's lying. Look at this mess. Completely unprofessional." 8:55 a.m. HR representative called the elevator chimed again. HR Director Michelle Torres emerged, her heels clicking against marble floors. At 34, she'd climbed Sterling's corporate ladder through careful politics and risk avoidance. This situation screamed liability. "Derek, what's happening here?" Michelle kept her voice low, professional. Derek's live stream was now at 156 viewers. The story was gaining traction. #Sterling Financial had started trending in finance Twitter circles. "Insubordinate cleaning staff," Derek explained. "I've documented everything on social media for legal purposes." Michelle's stomach dropped. Live streaming workplace conflicts violated company policy section 12.4. But Derek was a regional manager, 2 levels above her in the hierarchy. Keisha watched the corporate theater unfold. Her real boss, Chairman Roberts, had hired her specifically for moments like this. 3 weeks of data collection, 3 weeks of watching Derek's department hemorrhage talent through discriminatory practices. 8:58 a.m. Security Involvement Building. Security Chief Jake Morrison arrived with 2 guards. The 45-year-old former Marine had seen his share of corporate drama. But live streaming a termination? This was new territory. "Sir, we need to escort this employee from the building," Morrison said reluctantly. He'd always liked Keisha. She greeted everyone by name and asked about his daughter's soccer games. Something felt wrong. Derek was in full performance mode now. "Jake, make sure she doesn't steal anything on her way out. These people can't be trusted." The racist comment hit like a slap. Morrison's jaw tightened. Several employees had gathered, phones recording. This would be online within minutes. Sarah Monroe, a junior manager, stood near the elevator bank. Her hands shook as she secretly recorded on her phone. She'd worked under Derek for 8 months. His casual racism wasn't new, but it had never been this public. Keisha's phone buzzed again. Another text from the chairman. "Delayed in traffic, start without me if needed." She almost smiled. If only he knew. 9:01 a.m., the request. "I need 5 minutes to gather my personal belongings," Keisha said calmly. Derek laughed for his audience. "What belongings? A mop and bucket?" His live stream had reached 203 viewers. Comments poured in faster than he could read them. Most cheered him on, but a few questioned the optics. One user wrote, "Bro, this looks really bad for your company." Michelle Torres pulled Derek aside. "You need to stop filming. This could be a legal nightmare." "Relax," Derek waved her off. "I'm documenting employee misconduct. It's perfectly legal." It wasn't. Sterling Financial's social media policy explicitly prohibited recording workplace interactions without all parties' consent. Derek was violating Policy 12.4, subsection C. Keisha methodically placed cleaning supplies back in her cart. The briefcase remained untouched, its secrets intact. She'd learned patience during 23 years climbing corporate ladders. 5 more minutes of humiliation would buy her a lifetime of justice. Rodriguez watched uncomfortably. Something about Keisha's composure unsettled him. She moved like someone accustomed to executive boardrooms, not supply closets. 9:04 a.m. The crowd grows. Word spread through Sterling's floors. Employees gathered on 47 pretending to get coffee or use the printer. Derek's public humiliation of a black cleaning woman was the kind of spectacle that demanded witnesses. Sarah Monroe's recording captured everything. Derek's racist commentary, the growing crowd, Keisha's dignified silence. She'd send it to local news stations if needed. Her grandfather had faced similar discrimination in 1960s San Francisco. This ended today. Jake Morrison felt sick. His security team was complicit in this theater. But orders were orders, and Derek held the power. Derek's phone showed 267 viewers. He was going viral for all the wrong reasons, but his ego couldn't see it. "This is why I don't hire people like this," he told his audience. "No work ethic, no respect for authority." The briefcase sat 3 feet away, holding documents that would destroy his career. Keisha checked her Rolex, a graduation gift from her Harvard Law School roommate. 26 more minutes until the board meeting. 26 minutes until Derek Williams learned that assumptions could be catastrophically expensive. 9:07 a.m. Board members arriving. The elevator dinged softly. 3 Sterling Financial board members stepped onto the marble lobby 40 floors below, their Italian leather shoes clicking toward the executive elevator bank. They carried briefcases and tablets, prepared for the quarterly culture assessment meeting. None knew their newest board member was currently being escorted out by security. Derek's live stream had exploded to 412 viewers. Hashtag Sterling Financial was trending on Twitter with 847 mentions in the past hour. Financial bloggers were screenshotting his video, adding commentary about toxic corporate culture and PR disasters in real time. Sterling's stock price dipped 0.3% in pre-market trading. Algorithmic trading systems flagged the social media mentions, triggering automated sell orders. The company was hemorrhaging $2.1 million in market cap, while Derek performed for his audience. Michelle Torres frantically texted the communications team. Need crisis management on executive floor now. 9:09 a.m. The humiliation peaks. Derek positioned himself between Keisha and her briefcase, blocking her access while maintaining his live stream angle. His audience had grown to 523 viewers, with comments flowing like rapids. "Empty your pockets," Derek commanded. "Security protocol for terminated employees." Jake Morrison's face flushed red. "Sir, that's not actually— Do it," Derek snapped. "I don't want stolen property leaving this building." Keisha reached into her uniform pocket and pulled out a small wallet, her building key card, and her phone. The phone's lock screen showed 73 missed calls from Sterling executives. Derek didn't notice. "The other pocket," Derek insisted for his audience's entertainment. From her left pocket, Keisha retrieved a Platinum American Express Centurion card and a keychain with a small black fob. The fob bore Sterling Financial's logo with Chairman's Club Executive Access engraved in gold. Derek's eyes narrowed. "Where did you steal these?" "They're mine," Keisha replied calmly. Sarah Monroe zoomed in with her phone camera, capturing the platinum card and executive keychain. Her hands trembled as she recorded. Something was terribly wrong with this picture. 9:12 a.m. Social media explosion. Derek's live stream reached 634 viewers, but the narrative was shifting in the comments section. "Why does a cleaning lady have a black Amex? That keychain looks expensive. Something fishy here, bro. Plot twist incoming?" Local news stations monitoring social media flagged the viral video. KQED's morning team dispatched a camera crew to Sterling Financial's building. The story was writing itself. Tech executive humiliates employee on live video. Derek remained oblivious, drunk on digital attention. His regional manager's salary of $127,000 made him feel powerful. He had no idea the woman before him earned $285,000 in base salary, plus equity. 9:15 a.m. Corporate crisis mode. Sterling's communications director burst from the elevator, her face pale. Emma Walsh had been monitoring social media when #Sterling Financial started trending. The live stream was a public relations nightmare unfolding in real time. "Derek, you need to stop filming immediately," Emma commanded. "This is employee discipline," Derek replied, still live streaming. "Perfectly legal." "You're violating policy 12.4 and potentially California Penal Code 632, Emma shot back. "Stop recording or face immediate suspension." Derek's audience was eating up the corporate drama. Viewer count, 789. Comments per second, 23. His ego couldn't resist. "Ma'am, I'm documenting misconduct for legal purposes. This employee damaged company property and showed disrespect to management." Emma Walsh pulled out her phone and called Sterling's CEO directly. "Sir, we have a code red situation on the executive floor. Regional manager live streaming a termination. Stock price dropping. We need immediate intervention." 9:18 a.m. The crowd swells. Word had spread through Sterling's Slack channels and employee WhatsApp groups. Nearly 50 people crowded the 47th floor, phones recording from multiple angles. The hallway buzzed with whispered conversations. "Is that really Derek Williams? He's live streaming a firing? That's so illegal. Who's the cleaning lady? She looks familiar." A junior analyst, Marcus Thompson, squinted at Keisha. Something about her face nagged at him. He'd seen her somewhere before, but not in a cleaning uniform. Keisha stood in the center of the chaos, an island of calm in corporate storm. Her breathing remained steady, her posture erect. 23 years of executive training had prepared her for moments when composure mattered most. Derek's phone showed 891 viewers. He was intoxicated by the attention, performing for his digital audience like a reality TV star. "This is what happens when you don't respect the chain of command," he announced. Some people need to learn their place in the corporate hierarchy. 9:21 a.m. The union representative. The elevator opened again. Janice Williams, representing the Service Employees International Union, stepped onto the floor with a tablet and briefcase. She'd been monitoring the viral video from her Oakland office. "Excuse me," she called out. "I represent Ms. Washington's union. This termination is being conducted improperly." Derek laughed into his phone. "Great. Now we've got union interference. This is why American business is failing, folks." His live stream audience was loving the drama. Viewer count 1,047. But the comments were shifting. "Bro, you're gonna get sued. This looks really bad for your company. Why is she so calm, though? Something's not right here." Janice Williams approached Keisha. "Ma'am, you don't have to submit to this treatment. You have rights under the collective bargaining agreement." Keisha smiled slightly. "Thank you, Ms. Williams. But I think this situation will resolve itself very soon." The union representative frowned. Something about Keisha's tone suggested inside knowledge. 9:24 a.m. Peak confrontation. Derek's performance reached its crescendo. With over 1,100 viewers watching, he decided to deliver his final humiliation. "Before security escorts you out," Derek announced, "I want a public apology. Tell everyone here that you're sorry for disrespecting Sterling Financial and its management." The crowd fell silent. 50 employees held their breath, phones recording from every angle. This was the moment that would define Derek Williams's career. Keisha looked around the circle of faces. Sarah Monroe, recording nervously. Jake Morrison, ashamed but following orders. Michelle Torres, calculating legal exposure. Luis Rodriguez, confused by the whole spectacle. Her gaze finally settled on Derek's phone camera. "I think," Keisha said softly, "there's been a misunderstanding." She walked calmly to her supply cart and picked up the black briefcase. Derek didn't stop her. He assumed it contained cleaning supplies. Keisha's fingers found her phone in her pocket. She scrolled to a contact labeled Chairman Roberts and hit dial. The phone rang once. "Chairman Roberts, it's Keisha. We have a situation on the 47th floor." Derek's live stream froze mid-broadcast. His face went ashen. Jake Morrison dropped his radio. Michelle Torres' mouth fell open. The 47th floor of Sterling Financial went dead silent except for the sound of Derek's phone clattering to the marble floor. His live stream was still running. 1,247 viewers watched his world collapse in real time. 9:24 a.m. The phone call that changed everything. Chairman Roberts' voice crackled through Keisha's phone speaker, audible to everyone in the suddenly silent hallway. "Keisha, are you all right? I saw the news alerts about Sterling trending on social media. Something about an incident on your floor?" Derek's live stream continued broadcasting to 1,247 viewers, now capturing his complete psychological breakdown. His face cycled through confusion, denial, and dawning horror. The confident regional manager who had kicked over a mop bucket 5 minutes earlier was nowhere to be found. "I'm fine, sir," Keisha replied calmly. "But we need to discuss Mr. Derek Williams's conduct during my undercover assessment." The words hit the crowd like a physical blow. Undercover assessment. The cleaning lady was working undercover. Whispers rippled through the gathered employees as reality began to sink in. Sarah Monroe's phone trembled in her hands, still recording every moment. Marcus Thompson's eyes widened as recognition finally clicked. He'd seen Keisha's photo in the company newsletter 3 weeks ago, announcing new board appointments. The woman in the cleaning uniform was the same person in the corporate headshot. Jake Morrison stepped backward, his face draining of color. "Oh, God. Oh, no. Ms. Washington, I'm so sorry. I had no idea." "Who is this?" Derek croaked, his voice barely audible. His live stream comments were exploding with speculation. 9:25 a.m. The identity revealed. Keisha opened her briefcase with deliberate precision. The simple black case that Derek had dismissed as containing cleaning supplies revealed its true contents to his still-running livestream camera. Inside, visible to everyone including Derek's 1,400 online viewers, lay documents that would destroy his career. Stanford Graduate School of Business MBA diploma, magna cum laude, 2019. Sterling Financial ID badge. Keisha R. Washington, Vice President, Corporate Culture and Diversity. Board member credentials signed by Chairman Roberts himself. First-class boarding pass from her red-eye flight from Sterling's San Francisco headquarters. A letter of appointment dated 3 weeks earlier. Mr. Williams, Keisha said, her voice carrying new authority that made several employees straighten their postures. I'm Vice President Washington. I've been conducting a 3-week undercover culture assessment of your department. Derek's phone clattered to the floor again, the live stream still broadcasting his meltdown to over 1,400 viewers. Comments exploded across the screen faster than anyone could read. Holy shit, plot twist. She's the boss? Derek is so fired. This is better than Netflix. Best karma video ever. The circle of employees pressed closer, phones capturing every angle of Derek's humiliation from multiple perspectives. This was the kind of corporate karma that would trend for weeks across every social media platform. 9:26 a.m. The evidence unveiled. Keisha pulled out a thick manila folder from her briefcase, its contents meticulously organized after 3 weeks of careful documentation. During my time observing your department, Mr. Williams, I documented systematic discrimination that has cost Sterling Financial millions in measurable damages. She spread documents across a nearby desk while Derek's live stream captured everything in high definition. Her voice was clinical, professional, the voice of someone accustomed to boardroom presentations and quarterly reports. Your department shows a 73% turnover rate among diverse employees over the past 18 months. The company average across all departments is 23%. Your discriminatory hiring and management practices have resulted in 4 pending discrimination lawsuits, totaling $847,000 in potential damages. Michelle Torres grabbed the wall for support, her face pale with realization. As HR director, these numbers represented her worst nightmare. Every lawsuit mentioned would trigger Federal Equal Employment Opportunity Commission investigations. Furthermore, Keisha continued, flipping through documented evidence, your department's revenue declined $2.3 million this quarter due to client defections. 3 major accounts specifically cited cultural concerns and unprofessional staff behavior when terminating their contracts with Sterling Financial. 9:27 a.m. The witnesses speak. Luis Rodriguez found his voice first, his weathered hands shaking slightly. Ms. Washington, you've been working night shifts for 3 weeks. Your work was perfect. Always professional, always respectful to everyone. That's because she is a professional, Sarah Monroe said, her recording still running steadily. Derek, she helped me with the Mandarin client presentation last week. She speaks 4 languages fluently and knows more about international business law than half our legal team. Derek's world crumbled further with each revelation. The cleaning lady he'd humiliated for his social media audience spoke Mandarin, Spanish, French, and Arabic. Her Stanford MBA had focused specifically on organizational psychology and corporate culture transformation. Jake Morrison stepped forward, his voice shaking with shame and disbelief. Ma'am, I am so deeply sorry. I should have questioned this whole situation. This was wrong on every level, and I participated in it. Jake, Keisha replied gently, her tone free of anger, you were following what you believed were proper orders from a superior. That's exactly the kind of systemic issue I was hired to identify and fix. The problem isn't individual compliance. It's institutional culture. 9:28 a.m. Derek's desperate deflection. Derek scrambled to pick up his phone, his live stream still broadcasting to a rapidly growing audience that had swelled to over 1,600 viewers. Panic replaced arrogance as he tried desperately to control the narrative spiraling beyond his reach. This is some kind of elaborate setup, he stammered into his camera, sweat beading on his forehead. She's lying about everything. Cleaning staff don't become corporate executives. This is obviously fake news designed to make me look bad. His audience wasn't buying the desperate deflection. Comments poured in, calling him delusional, racist, and finished. Keisha pulled out her secondary phone, an iPhone Pro Max that cost more than Derek's monthly salary, and called Sterling's main executive line. "This is Vice President Washington. Please connect me to the executive conference room." The call went through immediately, bypassing all normal protocols. Chairman Roberts' voice boomed through the speaker with unmistakable authority. "Keisha, the board is assembled and ready. Are you prepared to present your culture assessment findings?" Derek's knees buckled at the confirmation. His live stream audience watched him collapse against the wall, 1,600 viewers witnessing a racist manager's public destruction in real time. 9:29 a.m. The real authority. "Actually, sir," Keisha said into her phone with calm professionalism, "I think we should conduct this meeting on the 47th floor. The entire executive team should see this evidence firsthand, and we have multiple witnesses who can provide testimony." Emma Walsh, the communications director, was frantically typing on her tablet while monitoring social media feeds. "Ma'am, we need immediate damage control protocols. Mr. Williams' video has been viewed 45,000 times in the past hour. We're trending number 3 on Twitter, LinkedIn, and TikTok with mostly negative sentiment." "Good," Keisha replied calmly, surprising everyone with her response. "Transparency was always part of the strategy, Emma. Sometimes systemic change requires public accountability." She turned to address the crowd of 50 employees, many still recording with their phones. "For those who don't know me, I'm Keisha Washington, newly appointed Vice President of Corporate Culture and Diversity. I report directly to Chairman Roberts and have full authority over all cultural compliance issues." The admission sent ripples of shock through the group. A black woman in her 50s, hired at VP level, conducting undercover operations. This was unprecedented in Sterling's 47-year corporate history. 9:30 a.m. The financial impact. Marcus Thompson, the junior analyst, was frantically checking his Bloomberg terminal on his phone, his face growing pale as numbers updated in real time. "Ms. Washington, our stock price has dropped 1.7% in the past hour. We've lost $23 million in market cap because of the viral video." Keisha nodded with the composure of someone who understood corporate finance intimately. "That's exactly why I was hired, Marcus. Toxic culture has measurable financial consequences that extend far beyond HR complaints. Mr. Williams' behavior just cost Sterling shareholders $23 million in 30 minutes. Derek's live stream was still running, now with 1,847 viewers. The comments section had become a real-time business school case study in corporate crisis management. Racism, ECs, 23M's market cap in 30 minutes. This is why diversity and inclusion actually matter. Derek's gonna be unemployed forever after this. Best corporate karma video ever filmed. Sterling's stock is tanking live on stream. 9:31 a.m. The supporting evidence. Janice Williams, the union representative, approached Keisha with newfound respect and additional documentation. "Ma'am, our union members have reported multiple incidents of discriminatory behavior in Mr. Williams' department. We have 17 written complaints dating back 8 months. "I know," Keisha replied, pulling out her own corresponding files. "That's exactly why Chairman Roberts hired me for this position. The union complaints, combined with client defections and lawsuit threats, created a perfect storm of legal and financial liability." She pulled out another folder, thick with security camera screenshots. "I also have comprehensive security camera footage from the past 3 weeks. Mr. Williams's pattern of discriminatory behavior extends far beyond today's live-streamed incident." Derek's face went completely white as the implications sank in. 3 weeks of security footage would document every racist comment, every microaggression, every moment of toxic leadership he'd displayed when he thought no one important was watching. 9:32 a.m. The board arrives. The elevator dinged with executive authority. Chairman Roberts emerged first, a distinguished man in his 60s with silver hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing in corporate environments. Behind him followed three board members, CFO Patricia Monroe, legal counsel David Martinez, and operations director Janet Kim. Their Italian leather shoes clicked against the marble floor as they surveyed the chaos with professional assessment. 50 employees, multiple phones recording, one regional manager collapsed against a wall, and their newest VP standing calmly in the center holding a briefcase full of evidence. The board members' faces were grim but unsurprised. They had hired Keisha specifically for situations like this, though none had expected such a spectacular public documentation of corporate toxicity. "Ms. Washington," Chairman Roberts said formally, his voice carrying the authority of Sterling's $2.8 billion market cap, "are you ready to present your undercover findings to the board?" Keisha smiled for the first time that morning, an expression of quiet satisfaction and professional vindication. "Yes, sir. I believe we have everything we need to implement comprehensive cultural reform." Derek's phone finally died, its battery exhausted from broadcasting his complete professional destruction to thousands of viewers. The silence on the 47th floor was deafening, broken only by the distant sound of news crews setting up in the lobby below. 9:34 a.m. The Executive Tribunal Chairman Roberts gestured toward the nearest conference room. "Let's move this discussion to conference room 4701. The full board needs to review Ms. Washington's findings immediately." The procession was surreal. Derek Williams, still in shock, was escorted by security while Keisha walked alongside the board members as an equal. The 50 employees followed at a respectful distance, phones still recording this unprecedented corporate drama. Conference room 4701 overlooked downtown San Francisco's financial district. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the city skyline as the board took their seats around a mahogany table worth more than Derek's annual salary. CFO Patricia Monroe opened her tablet and began calculating financial damages in real time. "Keisha, before we proceed, I need current market impact numbers. Our stock is now down 2.1% in pre-market trading. That's $31 million in lost market capitalization. All directly attributable to Mr. Williams' live-streamed conduct," Keisha confirmed, opening her briefcase to reveal meticulously organized evidence. "I have social media analytics showing the exact correlation between his video and our stock decline." 9:36 a.m. The legal reckoning. Legal counsel. David Martinez leaned forward, his expression grave. "What's our total legal exposure here, Keisha?" She pulled out a comprehensive legal analysis. Mr. Williams violated California Labor Code Section 98.6 by creating a hostile work environment on camera. He also breached company policies 12.4, 15.3, and 22.1 simultaneously. Martinez took notes rapidly. "The recorded evidence makes this legally indefensible. We're looking at federal discrimination charges, state labor violations, and potential civil rights lawsuits." Derek finally found his voice, desperation replacing his earlier arrogance. "This whole thing was a setup. She entrapped me. I was just doing my job managing problem employees." "Mr. Williams," Martinez replied coldly, "entrapment requires law enforcement coercion. Ms. Washington is a corporate executive conducting legitimate workplace assessment. Your discriminatory behavior was entirely voluntary." 9:38 a.m. The Data Destruction Operations Director Janet Kim spread Derek's department statistics across the conference table. "Keisha, walk us through the operational impact of Mr. Williams's management style." Gladly, Keisha activated the room's smart display, projecting her findings. Derek's department shows the worst performance metrics in Sterling's history. The numbers appeared in stark black and white: 73% annual turnover rate versus 23% company average, $2.3 million revenue decline. This quarter, 4 active discrimination lawsuits worth $847,000. 17 formal union complaints in 8 months, 3 stress-related medical leaves. But the financial damage extends beyond his department, Keisha continued. 3 major clients terminated contracts citing cultural incompatibility. Monroe Manufacturing alone represented $3.2 million in annual revenue. Derek's face went ashen as the scope of his destruction became clear. 9:40 a.m. The systematic evidence. There's more, Keisha said, pulling out audio equipment. I recorded daily interactions during my 3 weeks undercover. Mr. Williams made discriminatory comments about employees, clients, and vendors consistently. She pressed play on a digital recorder. Derek's voice filled the conference room. These people don't understand corporate culture. They belong in service jobs, not professional roles. Asian employees all look the same to me. How am I supposed to tell them apart? We need to hire more Americans, not these diversity candidates who can't do the work. Each recording was time-stamped and legally documented. Derek slumped in his chair as his own words condemned him. Chairman Roberts' face hardened with each discriminatory statement. Mr. Williams, in 43 years of corporate leadership, I have never witnessed such systematic prejudice disguised as management. 9:42 a.m. The witness testimony. Sarah Monroe was invited to present her secret recordings. Board members, I've documented Mr. Williams' behavior for 8 months. The discrimination wasn't subtle. She played video of Derek telling Latino employees to speak English or find another job, and audio of him saying Asian staff can't be trusted with important clients. Marcus Thompson added his analysis. The financial data supports every allegation. Our client satisfaction scores in Derek's department are the lowest company-wide. We lost $8.7 million in annual revenue due to culture-related client defections. Union Representative Janice Williams presented 17 formal complaints. Our members have been documenting hostile work environment issues for over a year. This morning's incident was simply the most public example. 9:44 a.m. The corporate calculations CFO Patricia Monroe was calculating rapidly on her tablet. Let me summarize our total exposure from Mr. Williams's discriminatory management. She projected numbers onto the smart display. $31 million market cap loss, ongoing. $8.7 million annual client revenue, lost. $847,000 potential lawsuit settlements. $2.3 million departmental revenue decline. Estimated $500,000 in legal defense costs. Total measurable damage, $43.3 million over 12 months. The board sat in stunned silence. One regional manager's prejudice had cost Sterling Financial over $43 million in quantifiable losses. 9:46 a.m. The ultimatum Chairman Roberts addressed Derek directly. Mr. Williams, your conduct has violated federal discrimination laws, state labor codes, and multiple company policies. You've cost this company millions in damages and destroyed our reputation on social media. He pulled out Derek's employment contract. Per Section 15.3 of your agreement, conduct detrimental to company reputation constitutes grounds for immediate termination with cause. Derek's voice cracked. Please, I have a mortgage, car payments, kids in private school. I'll apologize publicly, take sensitivity training, whatever you want. Mr. Williams, legal counsel Martinez interrupted, your live stream has been viewed 78,000 times. Sterling Financial's insurance carrier has already refused coverage for willful misconduct. You've made this situation legally indefensible. 9:48 a.m. The systemic solution. The question, Chairman Roberts said, is how we prevent this from happening again. Keisha stood and activated a new presentation. I recommend immediate implementation of comprehensive cultural reform measures. Her proposed solutions appeared on screen. Mandatory bias training for all management levels, real-time behavioral monitoring app for employee feedback, anonymous reporting system with direct board oversight, quarterly culture audits by external consultants, zero-tolerance policy with automatic termination for discrimination. Additionally, she continued, we should establish a $500,000 diversity scholarship program to demonstrate our commitment to inclusion. 9:50 a.m. The final verdict. Operations Director Janet Kim motioned for a formal vote. All in favor of accepting Ms. Washington's recommendations and implementing immediate cultural reform? The board voted unanimously, 4 hands raised without hesitation. All in favor of terminating Derek Williams for cause, effective immediately? Again, unanimous approval. Chairman Roberts looked at Derek with disgust. Mr. Williams, you are terminated for gross misconduct, violation of company policy, and conduct detrimental to Sterling Financial. Security will escort you from the building. Your final paycheck will reflect forfeiture of severance per your contract terms. Derek's 20-year career ended in a conference room overlooking the city where he'd thought himself untouchable. 9:52 a.m. The new era. Ms. Washington, Chairman Roberts said formally, you have full authority to implement these cultural changes immediately. What do you need from the board? Complete transparency, sir. This morning's incident proves that discrimination thrives in silence. We need to make our cultural transformation as public as Mr. Williams made his prejudice. She gestured toward the windows overlooking San Francisco. Sterling Financial will become the industry standard for inclusive corporate culture. We'll use today's crisis as the foundation for systemic change. The board members nodded in agreement. Derek Williams' live-streamed destruction would become Sterling's greatest opportunity for transformation. Security knocked on the conference room door. Derek's escort had arrived. One final thing, Keisha said as Derek was led away. Your live stream this morning will become required viewing in our new bias training program. Your prejudice will educate future generations of Sterling employees about the cost of discrimination. Derek Williams left Sterling Financial for the final time, his career destroyed by his own documented hatred. The 47th floor fell quiet as the board began planning Sterling's cultural revolution. 10:15 a.m. Immediate aftermath. The elevator doors closed on Derek Williams for the final time. Security Chief Jake Morrison personally escorted the disgraced manager to the lobby, past the growing crowd of news crews and protesters who had gathered after the viral video spread across social media platforms. Derek's LinkedIn profile was already flooded with comments. His professional network was distancing themselves in real time. Former colleagues posted statements denouncing his behavior. Recruiters who had courted him the week before were now blocking his contact attempts. Meanwhile, on the 47th floor, Keisha addressed the 50 employees who had witnessed the morning's events. What you saw today represents everything Sterling Financial stands against. But more importantly, it demonstrates that our company will take decisive action when our values are violated. Sarah Monroe raised her hand tentatively. Ms. Washington, will there be retaliation against those of us who recorded the incident? Absolutely not, Keisha replied firmly. Documenting discrimination is not just protected, it's encouraged. Your courage to record evidence despite potential career risks shows exactly the kind of integrity Sterling values. 10:30 a.m. The policy revolution. Within hours, Keisha's reform proposals were being implemented across Sterling Financial's entire organization. The board had approved emergency funding for immediate cultural transformation. The Dignity at Work app launched company-wide that afternoon. Employees could report discriminatory behavior anonymously with direct escalation to the board level. Real-time sentiment tracking would flag departments with cultural problems before they exploded into public relations disasters. Michelle Torres, the HR director, worked with Keisha to revise every company policy. The old handbook had loopholes, Torres admitted. Managers like Derek exploited vague language about cultural fit to justify discrimination. The new policies were crystal clear. Zero tolerance for bias, mandatory recording of all disciplinary actions, and automatic escalation of complaints involving protected classes. 10:45 a.m. The financial recovery. By market close, Sterling Financial's stock had not only recovered but reached a new high. The company's decisive response to Derek's behavior impressed institutional investors who valued strong governance and risk management. CFO Patricia Monroe monitored trading volume in real time. "We're seeing unprecedented investor interest. The transparency and swift action demonstrate corporate accountability that major funds want to support." ESG, environmental, social, and governance rating agencies upgraded Sterling's score within 24 hours. The company's handling of the discrimination incident became a case study for effective crisis management. 1100 a.m. The human impact. Luis Rodriguez, the maintenance director, found Keisha in her new executive office. "Ms. Washington, I need to apologize for not speaking up sooner. I suspected Derek's behavior was wrong, but I was afraid of losing my job." "Luis," Keisha replied gently, "that fear is exactly what we're changing. Your job security should never depend on tolerating discrimination. The new policies protect whistleblowers and reward moral courage." She handed him a document. "I'm also recommending you for promotion to Facilities Operations Manager. Your 20-year track record of treating everyone with respect makes you perfect for leadership." 11:30 a.m. The ripple effect. News of Derek's termination spread through Sterling's industry networks. Other financial firms began reviewing their own cultural practices, fearing similar public exposure of discriminatory behavior. 3 companies reached out to Keisha requesting consultation on cultural assessment programs. Her undercover methodology was being hailed as innovative corporate governance. The Service Employees International Union publicly praised Sterling's response. Union Representative Janice Williams issued a statement. "Sterling Financial has set a new standard for corporate accountability. This is how companies should respond to discrimination." 12 p.m. The new Standard Chairman Roberts called an all-hands meeting to address Sterling's 2,847 employees globally. The live stream reached offices in New York, London, Tokyo, and Sao Paulo. "Today's events remind us that our values aren't just words on a website," Roberts declared. "They're commitments we enforce with real consequences. Derek Williams' behavior violated everything Sterling represents, and our response demonstrates our true character." He announced the establishment of the Keisha Washington Fund for Workplace Dignity, a $2 million endowment supporting diversity programs at business schools nationwide. 12:30 p.m. Personal vindication. Keisha stood in her corner office overlooking San Francisco Bay. 23 years of climbing corporate ladders had led to this moment. Not just personal success, but systemic change that would protect future generations of workers. Her phone buzzed with messages from former colleagues, family members, and complete strangers who had seen the viral video. The overwhelming response was gratitude and admiration for her courage. But the most meaningful message came from her Stanford Business School roommate. "Keisha, you didn't just win today. You changed the game for everyone who looks like us." 1 p.m. The transformation. Complete. Sterling Financial's transformation was already visible. Employees walked taller, spoke more freely, and collaborated across racial and ethnic lines without fear of retaliation. The cleaning staff, Keisha's former colleagues, were invited to participate in the company's Cultural Advisory Committee. Their perspectives on workplace respect would inform future policies. Derek Williams' former office was converted into a Dignity Resource Center, where employees could access bias training, cultural competency resources, and confidential counseling services. The 47th floor that had witnessed Derek's downfall became a symbol of Sterling's commitment to justice and equality 3 months later. The legacy. Derek Williams' viral meltdown became required viewing at business schools nationwide. Harvard Business Review published Keisha's case study titled "Undercover Leadership: How Strategic Assessment Drives Cultural Change." The article garnered 2.3 million views and became the most shared piece in the publication's history. Sterling Financial's stock price had increased 12% since the incident. Major clients praised the company's transparency and decisive action. 3 Fortune 500 companies switched their accounts to Sterling specifically because of the cultural transformation. Derek's LinkedIn profile remained deactivated. His house went into foreclosure after 6 months of unemployment. No financial firm would hire him due to the documented evidence of discrimination. He eventually took a warehouse job in Nevada, far from the corporate world he'd once dominated. The ripple effect. Across industries. The Sterling Standard became industry terminology for swift, transparent responses to workplace discrimination. Over 200 companies implemented similar undercover assessment programs. The Society for Human Resource Management created new certification requirements based on Keisha's methodology. Sarah Monroe was promoted to Derek's former position and became Sterling's youngest ever regional manager. Her first action was establishing mentorship programs for underrepresented employees. Marcus Thompson joined her team as senior analyst, specializing in culture performance correlation data. Jake Morrison, the security chief, became an advocate for workplace dignity training. His testimony about complicity in discrimination was featured in Sterling's mandatory bias education program. "I learned that following orders doesn't excuse moral failure," he told new employee orientations. Real-life stories of transformation. These touching stories of workplace justice mirror countless real-life stories happening across corporate America. Black voices speak truth to power every day, creating change through courage and strategic thinking rather than anger or confrontation. The cleaning staff at Sterling, Keisha's former colleagues, received 15% raises and educational reimbursement benefits. 2 enrolled in business school programs. 1 launched a successful consulting firm specializing in workplace dignity assessment. The broader movement. Keisha's story represents just one example of how strategic preparation and quiet strength can overcome systemic discrimination. Across the country, Black stories of professional triumph are changing corporate culture one workplace at a time. From tech companies to medical centers, from law firms to manufacturing plants, diverse leaders are using intelligence and documentation to expose bias and create lasting change. These life stories prove that transformation happens through evidence, not emotion. The continuing fight. Today, Keisha Washington serves on 5 corporate boards and has consulted for over 100 companies on cultural transformation. Her methodology has prevented countless discrimination incidents and protected thousands of workers from hostile environments. But her work isn't finished. Every workplace still needs advocates willing to document injustice and demand accountability. Every employee deserves dignity regardless of their role, appearance, or background. Your voice matters. Have you witnessed workplace discrimination? Have you seen colleagues judged by their appearance rather than their competence? Your observations matter. Your documentation can create change. Share your workplace justice stories in the comments below. Post this video to show others that intelligence and preparation defeat prejudice every time. Subscribe to the Black Voices Speak channel for more real-life stories of quiet strength overcoming loud hatred. Hit the notification bell because change happens when we refuse to stay silent. Together, we're rewriting the rules of corporate America, one documented injustice at a time. Your story could be next. Your voice could change everything.